Hello everybody, my name is ChacePlayz, and recently I've been trying to be more like my hero, Mario. So to do that, I've decided I wanted to study him to see what he does. Of course.
Oh, the 3D platformer. Nintendo's favorite games to not make. Well, they've gotten a bit of a resurgence in games like A Hat in Time, Yooka-Laylee, and Nintendo's own Super Mario Odyssey. This style of game is not very common to see anymore, which is weird because it didn't used to be like this. There was a point in time where every company was trying their hardest to create a platforming mascot that would sell consoles. Sometimes you had your successes like Crash Bandicoot or Spyro the Dragon, sometimes you had middling results like Gex or Croc, and then you had Bubsy. But it's important to remember where all of these came from, because as we all know, this couldn't have come without a source, and it sure as hell didn't. It all started with the 1996 classic, Super Mario 64. Now I have quite the history with this one. In fact, I have quite the history with 3D Mario in general. I played these games a fuckload as a kid. They were pretty much the only video games I played for a long time, as I knew that I would enjoy them and I didn't have to take a risk on those pesky RPGs. While I played Galaxy first, and definitely the most, it didn't take long to go back and experience the ones I missed, which of course included Super Mario 64. Surprisingly, of the classic 3D Marios, this was probably the one I played the least. That doesn't mean I didn't play it, one glance at my old save files will clear that up, but it does mean that I don't have quite the connection to this one as I do the later entries. But with the release of 3D All-Stars, there's a surprising number of people that are experiencing Mario 64 for the first time, which is so odd to me as someone whose entire childhood was these games. But I thought this might be a good opportunity to go back to see if I think the same of this game that I've been playing since I was like 8. But why don't we start with the story? What's the plot?
Guess.
Yes, Bowser kidnaps Peach. Pretty run-of-the-mill. There's a little more to it. Bowser stole the power of the stars and trapped Peach and the Toads inside the castle walls. At least that's what the manual says, because there's a lot of Toads all over the castle. Did Bowser just forget about them? But yeah, it's still pretty run-of-the-mill. I guess they wanted to save the crazy shit for Sunshine. But that just means that we can jump right into the game proper. So Super Mario 64 is a 3D platformer.
What?
People who haven't played this game might be asking yourself why this was such a big deal at the time. It's not like it was the first. Well, my friends, the answer lies within these 4 little yellow buttons. You see, by pushing one of these things, you can move the camera.
Holy fucking shit.
This was huge in 1996. It sounds stupid now, but it hadn't been done before. Think of how many games where you move the camera with the right stick. It came from this. In fact, the term camera comes from the in-game explanation with Lakitu, who flies around with a camera to record your adventure. Now, I will admit, this is one of the places where the game shows its age a bit. I don't know if their intention was to treat him like an actual object that can bump into things, but the camera gets caught on everything. It's better when you're in very open levels like Lethal Lava Land or the Bowser stages, but like in this igloo, yeah, it's not the best. It doesn't bother me too much, mostly because of how much I've played this game that I'm used to it and know how to get around it, but for newcomers, I can see this as an issue. I mean, the game's still far from unplayable, and for their first attempt, this could be a lot worse. Now, Mario 64 isn't just a 3D platformer, it's a collectathon. And what that means is we must collect shit. There are 15 courses with 7 stars each, 6 regular ones and 1 for collecting 100 coins, all bridged together with Peach's Castle, which is the hub world for this adventure, and it's a pretty good one. While it's not that big compared to, say, Isle Delfino or even the Comet Observatory, it's still pretty memorable even for just the music alone. But it's also filled with plenty of secrets to find and stars to collect. But the real star of this show are the courses themselves. While the game gives you an order to complete the missions, you can actually do most of the stars in any order you want. There are some exceptions like KOOPA the Quick or certain boss fights that require you to pick their mission for them to appear, but other than that, if you want to get the last star before even getting the first, then well, go for it, nothing's stopping you. You can even do worlds out of order because of the way this game is structured. You see, the only stipulation for getting to the final boss is having 70 stars, but what stars you obtain and how you do it is irrelevant. So if you don't like a certain world like Wet Dry World, like who actually enjoys this, you can just go get stars from somewhere else. Well, unless you're a psychopath like me who insists on getting 100% every time I replay these games.
Sometimes it's okay not to be me.
This structure allows for an incredible amount of replayability since there are so many ways to reach the final boss and beat the game. Even when you're going for every star, the routes you take can and will always be different, and I love that. When I was a kid, I didn't even know that the 5th world, Big Boo's Haunt, even existed because you weren't required to do it and I was too dumb to look at the course numbers. But that's how much freedom is given to you, and that's what makes this game so much fun. It also helps that Mario himself is pretty fun to control. This is where he got some of his most iconic moves like the triple jump, somersault, the dive, the wall kick, and of course, the long jump, which is so much fun to do. It plagues my playthrough of this game. Now, it's not all perfect. Some of the moves are a bit more finicky than I would like the wall kick, where the later entries will let you slide down the wall and decide when you want to jump off. But this one, nope, you gotta press that button as soon as you hit that wall or it's a no-go. I should also mention that I don't think the designers were prepared for how acrobatic they made Mario in this game. There are so many stars made trivial by Mario's basic moveset. Like, oh, you want me to use those arrow platforms to get to the other side? Or I could just long jump. Oh, you want me to use that cannon to shoot myself into that area above? Or I could just use a wall kick. Oh, I need the metal cap to get the star in the current? Or you can just swim good enough. In fact, with even a basic knowledge of the mechanics, you can crack this game in half like an egg. For some reason, ground pounding in midair lets you go right through the Thwomp boss for an easy kill. This even works on the small ones. You can hold A and press B to scale slopes, allowing for massive shortcuts, and for even better times with Koopa the Quick, you can do this. That's a thing. And I haven't even mentioned the backwards long jump. You see, the long jump has a speed cap on it, preventing you from going too fast and breaking the game. But something they forgot about is the ability to do it backwards, which removes that cap. So when you find yourself in a situation where you can do it over and over again, like on stairs, you can mash the A button and fucking break the sound barrier. This trick is so broken that it allows speedrunners to beat the game without collecting a single star. That's insane. Now, this is all to be expected. This was the first of its kind. They haven't figured out everything yet, and this isn't a criticism. I love this shit. It is legitimately hard to play this game nowadays without using any of these tricks. It's just so fun to pull off. It's why speedrunning Mario 64 is still popular to this day, and the tricks are still being discovered. Finding ways to bypass annoying stars will always be insanely satisfying to me, and is part of the reason I still find myself coming back to Mario 64 time and time again. Now, just because it's possible to skip doesn't mean that certain things shouldn't be criticized, and one thing I will give criticism to is some of these courses. I already mentioned Wet Dry World, but I have a bone to pick with some of these other courses too. For some reason, the second half of this game loves to make you redo shit. You see, whenever you nab a star, you get booted out of the painting and have to jump back in to find another one. Usually, this doesn't bother me because the levels are rather open and the stars are in different parts of the world. But in courses like Tall Mountain, where most of the stars require you to scale the same mountain, I start wondering why I can't just do this all in one go. Same for levels like Tick-Tock Clock and Rainbow Ride. To be fair, like, only 4 of the 15 courses are like this, so it's not a huge deal, but when it does happen, it's annoying. Also, some of these missions can be kinda irritating. I'm looking at you, baby penguin. This shit is infamous for a reason. And then there's the 100 coin missions, where you collect 100 coins in each stage for an extra star, and I'm a little mixed on this. Cause on one hand, most of the time they're piss easy to get, and you can even do them alongside red coin missions cause they don't boot you out of the world like the other ones. But on the other hand, there's a few times where you have a little too many bottomless pits and coins being pretty scarce, leading to times where you, oh fucking god damn it!
Hope that sums it up.
There's also the caps, which are this game's power-ups. Well, except they're kinda lame. The wing cap is pretty cool. It lets you take to the sky for a limited amount of time and gives you full control of where you want to go. Kinda controls like ass, but you know, it's still fun to use. There's the metal cap, which allows you to sink to the bottom of water and you can't take damage. That's kinda cool. There's the vanish cap, which you use a grand total of...
twice.
I always found the process of finding the cap switches more interesting than the actual caps themselves. They're pretty well hidden and pretty fun to find, and they even have their own levels to go along with them. It's just that these power-ups are insanely situational. They're pretty fun to use, but when was the last time you heard someone say, "Oh my god, is that a vanish cap?" I always thought there should have been more stars that required you to combine the caps like you do for this one star. Like, how cool would it have been to fly underwater with the metal wing cap? That sounds dope. They're cool ideas on paper, but in execution, they definitely leave a lot to be desired. They ain't no cape feather, that's for sure. And then there's the bosses. I like this one with the hands. I don't really have a reason why. I just enjoy it a lot. The other ones are piss easy, like King Bomb, who can't even hurt you unless he throws you off the mountain. This Wiggler doesn't put up much of a fight, and oh my god. The polygons were not nice to Bowser at all. Anyway, you grab him by the tail and try to throw him into the bombs at the edge of the arena. He does throw some extra moves on the later fights, but he's still pretty damn easy, even if the final boss music is better than it has any right to be. But after you throw him into the last bomb, he gives a final speech about how he couldn't have lost to you and to keep that control stick smoking. And after you nab the final power star, you take to the skies before reuniting with the princess. And there you go, you just finished Super Mario 64, followed by one of the catchiest credit themes I've ever heard. This shit will follow me until the day I die. And if you collected every star in the game, you could unlock the cannon outside the castle and go see Yoshi, who maxes out your lives even though you already did everything in the game, so it's kind of pointless. But hey, I got a sparkly triple jump, so that's pretty cool. Oh, and for some reason, getting every star makes this penguin fatter. Don't ask why.
So I've once again completed Super Mario 64. It was fun, sad, and kind of irritating. It's the same as it's always been.
Super Mario 64 is a very flawed game, and it's definitely not my favorite Mario game. In fact, if you were to ask me right now, I would tell you that I think Odyssey is better. So why did I still have the stupidest grin on my face while I replayed it? Well, that's because I still love it, flaws and all. I might not have as much of a connection to 64 as the others, but I still have one. And even beside that, the fact that after all these games came out that tried and even succeeded to be Mario 64, people still came back to this one is a testament to this game's staying power. It changed video games forever, and that's something I can't look past. There's so much I didn't even get to talk about, like how scary it is with the piano creature and the endless staircase, how this was Charles Martinet's debut as Mario, how I used to try to speedrun this game and gave up super fast because I was a 12-year-old with no attention span, all the different and incredible ROM hacks that came out like Super Mario 64 Star Road that might as well just be its own game. There is so much around this aged 3D platformer that lets me know it's not going anywhere anytime soon. This might have been my most recent playthrough, but I seriously doubt it'll be my last. If you want to play it today, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but the one I recommend above everything else is playing it with an actual N64 with an actual cartridge with the original controller. Yes, I'm telling you to use the three-handed alien controller. This is how you know I'm serious. Playing Mario 64 with an emulator and an Xbox controller feels wrong. This controller might suck, but it was made for this game in mind, and I don't like playing it any other way. Now, if you're not a weirdo like me and don't care about that, then I recommend the PC port. This was made by fans by recompiling the code and porting the game to PC, and if I'm being honest, this is probably the definitive version of Mario 64, as it offers widescreen, 60 FPS, and mod support with a giant community behind it, continuously making new creations that still manage to amaze me. The things that people have been able to do to this 26-year-old game is simply incredible. You should definitely give this a look if you haven't already. It's been taken down by Nintendo, but what goes on the internet stays on the internet, so it doesn't take any more than a Google search to find. Now, there's also the DS remake, which actually is a really good version that adds new playable characters with their own abilities, new and improved graphics where Bowser looks several leagues better, and 30 new stars to collect with entirely new worlds to explore. This is what you call a remake. The only thing I don't like about it is that you have to play it with a D-pad, but if it really bothers you that much, then play it on the Wii U or the 3DS. It feels fine. And I also wish you just started with Mario instead of Yoshi. I thought that was an odd choice. But hey, if maybe you didn't think much of the N64 version, maybe give this one a try. You might find something really fun to enjoy. And I really do hope you enjoy it.
You know, I just talked really positively about something for a while. I'm kind of curious about how this is going to affect my karma. Nah, I'm sure it's fine.